This audiobook reveals the ancient secret that money obeys energy. As you listen, you'll discover how your inner vibration, not your effort, draws wealth effortlessly into your life. Step into the flow of abundance and awaken the prosperity that has always been yours. Money obeys energy. Introduction. Money hums a secret that has whispered through the corridors of time. It flows not to the desperate hand, but to the attuned heart. Within these chapters lies an ancient understanding, passed from sages and mystics alike, the art of drawing wealth through the subtle currents of your own energy. You now stand upon the threshold where eternal wisdom meets the world of modern abundance. The universe, infinite and generous, does not answer your struggle alone, but mirrors the frequency you radiate. Like calls to like, and your energy becomes the unseen magnet, summoning or repelling prosperity with perfect fidelity. When your vibration aligns with scarcity, each thought of not enough builds resistance in the very flow you seek. Yet when you dwell in the consciousness of abundance, feeling the wealth as if it were already yours, you open the channels through which prosperity moves unhindered. This is no idle hope, nor mere positive thinking. It is a law older than time. As a tuning fork resonates with its twin, so does your energy summon its material counterpart. Your relationship with money is a sacred dialogue, conducted in the language of vibration. Release the old belief that wealth must be wrested or chased. Know instead that abundance is your natural inheritance. The universe asks not for your struggle. It awaits your alignment. Each moment offers a choice: contract in fear, or expand in the knowing of sufficiency. Choose to embody abundance, and the world around you will bend to reflect your inner state. Breathe deeply, and hear this truth resonate through your being. Money is responding, not to your words, not to your frantic effort, but to the energy you carry. When you move from pursuit to allowance, from tension to ease, from resistance to receptivity, you awaken the eternal law that governs all manifestation. The journey to prosperity begins within. As you attune to the frequency of abundance, you become a vessel through which wealth naturally flows. This is the sacred science of energetic alignment, the key that opens the vault of universal plenty. Remember, you are not learning something new, but awakening to what has always been. The power to attract abundance has always been yours, waiting to be recognized, honored, and brought forth. Before we get into the book, comment, "I am ready," to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Awakening of Abundance. Chapter 1. The Whispering Well of Belief. In a village among rolling hills lived young Mabel, whose heart carried dreams as vast as the summer sky. One morning, while gathering herbs in the ancient woods, she stumbled upon a well unlike any other. Its stones whispered with wisdom, and carved upon its rim were words that shimmered in the dappled sunlight. "What you truly believe, you shall receive." Mabel dropped a copper coin into the well, wishing for a basket of fresh bread for her family. Within moments, a baker's cart broke its wheel near the forest path, and the kind baker offered her a basket of bread in exchange for directions to the village. Day after day, Mabel returned to the well. She noticed something curious. When her heart felt certain, her wishes manifested swiftly. Yet when doubt clouded her mind, Even her simplest desires remained unfulfilled. The well was teaching her the language of unwavering faith. The universe operates through this same principle. Like Mabel's well, it responds not to the intensity of your wishes, but to the depth of your conviction. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up each day to check its progress. You trust in the natural process of growth. Similarly, wealth flows most freely when you rest in absolute certainty of its arrival. Your beliefs are the invisible architects of your reality. They shape the very fabric of your experience, with money drawing or repelling abundance based on their resonance. When you declare, "I never have enough," the universe aligns with this truth. When you know, "I am naturally abundant," prosperity responds to your certainty. Consider Ernest, the village craftsman who toiled endlessly at his workshop. For years he believed that wealth came only through constant labor and worry. His hands were always busy, his mind forever calculating, yet prosperity seemed to dance just beyond his reach. One night, exhausted from his endless striving, Ernest sat in the village square and watched the stars. As he relaxed into the vastness of the night sky, a profound peace settled over him. In that moment of surrender, he realized that just as the stars needed no effort to shine, abundance required no struggle, only alignment. The next morning, Ernest opened his workshop with a different energy. Rather than chasing success, he allowed it to find him. His work flowed from joy rather than anxiety. Within weeks, word of his transformed craftsmanship spread through neighboring villages, bringing more prosperity than all his years of striving. The well and the craftsman mirror an eternal truth. Wealth responds to your energetic signature, not your effort. When you shift from pursuing to allowing, from doubting to knowing, you align with the natural flow of abundance. Ancient practice of allowing. Each morning, before the world stirs to life, practice this ritual of receptivity. Find a quiet space and settle into stillness. Place your hand upon your heart and speak these words with gentle authority. I am a field of creation, and all resources flow naturally to me. Let this truth sink into your bones, becoming as natural as your breath. Feel the certainty of it spreading through your being until your entire energy field hums with this knowing. Hold this vibration as you move through your day, letting it inform every interaction with money and opportunity. Chapter 2. The Garden of Invisible Seeds. In a small cottage at the edge of a bustling town lived Harriet, a woman who understood the hidden rhythms of life. Each morning she would tend to her garden, though to passing eyes it appeared to be nothing but bare earth. Yet Harriet moved with purpose, watering the seemingly empty soil, speaking words of encouragement to spaces where others saw nothing. The townspeople whispered among themselves, questioning her sanity. Why does she care for barren ground? They wondered. But Harriet knew what they could not see. Beneath the surface, countless seeds were awakening, stretching their roots into rich soil, preparing for their moment of emergence. Just as Harriet trusted in her unseen garden, so must you trust in the invisible forces of abundance preparing to manifest in your life. The universe operates through perfect timing, orchestrating circumstances beyond your current vision. Your role is not to force growth, but to maintain unwavering faith in the process of becoming. Remember, what appears as empty space to others may be filled with infinite potential to those who understand the law of gestation. Every fortune, every breakthrough, every blessing first takes root in invisible realms before breaking through into physical form. In another part of town lived Calvin, a quiet soul who understood this principle deeply. Each day, he would sit in his modest workshop, crafting beautiful vessels from clay. While his shelves stood mostly empty and customers were few, Calvin filled his space with joyful expectation. He would arrange his tools as if preparing for a rush of orders, polish his display cabinet in anticipation of future masterpieces, and greet each morning with a smile that spoke of success already achieved. Others might have called it foolish optimism, but Calvin knew better. He was cultivating a garden of prosperity through the fertile soil of his positive vibration. Soon, word of his craftsmanship began to spread. One order led to another, then another, until his once quiet workshop hummed with activity. These tales reflect an eternal truth. Abundance responds not to what your eyes can see, but to the unwavering signal of your faith. Like Harriet's seeds beneath the soil and Calvin's joy before success, your wealth grows first in the invisible realm of energy, before manifesting in the physical world. When you align your vibration with abundance, you create a magnetic field that attracts prosperity. This is not mere wishful thinking. It is the operation of universal law. Just as a flower knows when to bloom without being told, your good fortune knows when to manifest without your anxious oversight. The ancient practice of hidden harvest. As evening approaches, find a quiet moment for this sacred ritual. Settle into a comfortable position and close your eyes. Imagine coins and blessings sprouting beneath the surface of your awareness, like seeds stirring in rich soil. With each breath, whisper your gratitude. Thank you for the abundance already growing in my life. Thank you for the blessings still unseen, but surely coming. Thank you for the prosperity taking root beneath my conscious awareness. Let these thank yous flow from a place of genuine appreciation, knowing that your gratitude waters the seeds of future abundance. Continue this practice until you feel the warmth of certainty spread through your being, until you know, as surely as Harriet knew her garden would bloom, that your prosperity is already in motion. Chapter 3. The Lantern of Self-Worth. In a marketplace bustling with traders and merchants, Minnie discovered an ancient brass lantern tucked away in a forgotten corner. Unlike the polished wares that surrounded it, this lantern bore a single word etched into its weathered surface: enough. The merchant, an elderly woman with knowing eyes, offered it without price, saying only, "Its light reveals what gold cannot buy." That evening, as Minnie lit the lantern, its glow cast more than mere illumination. Within its gentle radiance, she saw herself as the universe beheld her, complete, worthy, and abundantly blessed. The lantern's light showed her that all her striving for more had stemmed from believing she was less. You attract into your life what resonates with your deepest self-image. When you harbor thoughts of unworthiness, even mountains of gold will feel insufficient. The universe responds not to your desires alone, but to the energy you embody. If you secretly believe you deserve little, abundance will pass you by, respecting your inner conviction. This truth stands eternal. Wealth flows not to those who chase it desperately, but to those who recognize their inherent value. You need not prove your worth through endless achievement or ceaseless labor. Your very existence carries the signature of divine abundance. Consider Leonard, a gifted artisan who crafted beautiful pieces yet priced them far below their worth. Each time someone praised his work, he would diminish its value, until one day he inherited a mirror that showed not his reflection, but his soul's light. As he gazed into it daily, he began to see his true worth. Gradually, his prices aligned with his value, and clients gladly paid them, for they sensed his newfound self-honor. Leonard's story mirrors your own journey. When you honor your gifts, talents, and very being, the universe matches your self-valuation. Money is merely energy responding to energy. Your task is not to chase wealth, but to cultivate such deep self-worth that abundance naturally gravitates toward you. This ancient wisdom beckons you now. Stand before the mirror of your consciousness and declare your magnificence. Release the habit of self-doubt that keeps prosperity at bay. Your worth is not measured by your bank account. Rather, your bank account reflects how deeply you honor yourself. The practice of radiant worth. Find a quiet moment as day turns to dusk. Place your hand upon your heart and say gently, "I am radiant and deserving," and feel that light fill your chest. Let this vibration become your true currency. In this sacred practice, you are not merely speaking words. You are attuning your energy to its natural state of abundance. Practice this until the truth of your worth shines brighter than any doubt. Chapter 4. The Current of Joy. In a small town where worry seemed to hang in the air like morning mist, there stood a modest family store. Its shelves bore the weight of unsold goods, and its ledger carried the heavy ink of mounting debt. Yet within these walls, Bessie, the shopkeeper's daughter, carried a gift more precious than gold: her laughter. Each morning, while her parents counted pennies with furrowed brows, Bessie would sweep the floors, humming melodies that seemed to dance with the dust motes in the sunlight. Her laughter, pure and unbridled, rang through the aisles like silver bells. At first, her father would shake his head, wondering how she could find joy in such lean times. But something remarkable began to unfold. The universe responds not to your struggles, but to your song. When you release the grip of anxiety, abundance flows through the channels of delight. As Bessie's joy filled the store, customers found themselves lingering longer, buying more, and returning often. They spoke of how the shop felt different, lighter, warmer, more inviting. Within months, the store's fortunes transformed, as if her laughter had unlocked an invisible vault of prosperity. This truth echoes through the ages. Joy is not the result of abundance, it is its source. When you vibrate at the frequency of genuine happiness, you align with the natural state of the universe, which is ever-expanding celebration. Consider now the tale of Hazel, a woman who faced a mountain of debt with an unexpected weapon: her dancing shoes. Each evening, instead of poring over bills, she would light candles and move to music, expressing gratitude for every penny she owned and every penny on its way. She transformed her financial practice into a celebration, replacing worry with wonder. As she twirled through her living room, giving thanks for unseen blessings, remarkable shifts began to occur. Unexpected opportunities arose, old debts were forgiven, and new streams of income flowed into her life with the same grace as her dancing. Her gratitude-filled movements had tuned her energy to the frequency of receiving. The ancient wisdom keepers understood. Abundance travels on the wings of joy. Your natural state is not struggle, but celebration. When you approach wealth with the lightness of a child's laugh, you remove the very resistance that blocks its flow. Practice. The dance of abundance. For one complete day, measure your wealth not in dollars, but in smiles. Let each moment of joy become your currency. Watch how genuine laughter loosens the grip of limitation more powerfully than any striving. Count your blessings through giggles, and feel how this vibration opens channels that toil could never reach. For in this practice lies a truth as old as time. The heart that knows how to celebrate already knows how to create. Chapter 5. The Mirror of Intention. In a village where mirrors were valued as portals of truth, lived a young woman named Clara. Each morning she would stand before her grandmother's silver mirror, speaking words of prosperity. Yet she noticed something peculiar. When her words carried doubt, her reflection appeared dim and distant. When her declarations rang with certainty, the mirror seemed to glow with an inner light. As days passed, Clara discovered that the mirror responded not to her words, but to the feeling tone beneath them. When she spoke of abundance with her mind, but clutched at scarcity with her heart, her reflection wavered like disturbed water. But when she aligned her entire being with her intentions, the mirror radiated such clarity that it seemed to pulse with life itself. This truth echoes through the chambers of your own experience. The universe does not merely hear your words, it feels your vibration. When you speak of wealth while harboring fear, you send mixed signals into the field of infinite possibility. But when you align your thoughts, emotions, and energy with your desires, you become a pure channel for manifestation. Consider now the tale of Amos, a merchant who transformed his fortune through this very understanding. Before each transaction, Amos would pause in his private chamber, where a simple brass mirror hung. Instead of rushing into negotiations with anxiety, he would first center himself in peaceful certainty. "I am the channel through which abundance flows," he would declare, watching his reflection until his eyes shone with quiet knowing. Rather than forcing confidence, he allowed it to arise naturally from his centered state. Soon his business dealings began to reflect this inner harmony. Customers were drawn to his peaceful presence, and opportunities unfolded with remarkable ease. The mirror in these tales serves as more than mere glass and silver. It stands as a symbol of the reflecting principle that governs all creation. Your outer world mirrors your inner state with perfect fidelity. This is not metaphor, but law, as constant as gravity, as reliable as the dawn. You need not strain or struggle to manifest your desires. Instead, cultivate the art of aligned attention. Let your focus flow naturally toward what you wish to create, held steady by the feeling of already being what you wish to become. Tonight, stand before your mirror, as the ancient ones did. Look deeply into your own eyes and speak these words: "The universe recognizes my focus." Repeat this declaration until you feel the shift, until your reflection seems to nod in silent agreement with the truth you embody. This is not ritual for ritual's sake, but a practical attunement of your energy with the creative force that shapes all reality. Let the mirror become your teacher, showing you when your energy is scattered and when it flows true. In this practice lies a power known to sages throughout time, the power of focused intention, aligned with the very current of creation itself. Remember, the universe responds not to what you say, but to what you are. Let your mirror guide you into that state of being where manifestation becomes as natural as breathing, as effortless as the flow of a river to the sea. Chapter 6. The Music of Allowing. In a bustling marketplace, Lottie sat at her empty stall, her shoulders tense with worry. Each day she would arrange her handcrafted wares with meticulous precision, willing customers to appear. Yet the more she strained to attract business, the more people seemed to pass by without a glance. Her knuckles grew white from gripping hope too tightly. One morning, exhausted from her efforts, Lottie simply closed her eyes and released her grip. In that moment of surrender, a gentle breeze swept through the market, carrying the sweet scent of jasmine. As she breathed in the fragrance, her body softened. For the first time in months, she felt at peace with whatever the day might bring. This simple act of letting go shifted everything. The universe responds not to desperate grasping, but to open hands. When you release your iron grip on outcomes, you create space for abundance to flow naturally. Like water finding its course, wealth seeks the path of least resistance. Your relationship with money mirrors your relationship with life itself. When you strain and struggle against its current, you create turbulence that blocks its natural flow. The art of receiving requires a delicate balance, holding your desires with gentle awareness while trusting in the perfect timing of universal forces. Consider the merchant Percy, who once believed success demanded constant motion. He would rush from fair to fair, chasing opportunity with frantic energy. His days were a blur of negotiations and deals, yet prosperity remained elusive. One evening, watching the sunset paint the sky in gold, Percy witnessed how nature moved in perfect rhythm without effort. That night, he chose to align himself with this natural flow. Rather than forcing his way through each transaction, he began to move in harmony with the subtle currents of commerce. He listened more than he spoke. He waited more than he pushed. Soon, opportunities began finding him, drawn to his newfound state of peaceful receptivity. The wisdom lies in understanding that wealth, like a shy forest creature, approaches most readily when you remain still. Your role is not to hunt it down, but to create the conditions that welcome its presence. When you cease wrestling with scarcity and instead cultivate an inner climate of abundance, money recognizes its reflection in your energy. This ancient practice will help you embody this truth. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Settle into a comfortable position and close your eyes. Begin breathing slowly and deeply, imagining that each breath draws in streams of golden light. Feel this light filling your body with warmth and possibility. With each exhale, consciously release any tension that might be blocking your connection to abundance. Let your shoulders drop, your jaw unclench, your hands open. Continue this practice until you feel yourself becoming a natural channel for prosperity's flow. The art of receiving lies not in doing more, but in resisting less. When you align with the rhythm of abundance, you'll discover that wealth has been waiting patiently for you to simply allow its presence. Chapter 7. The Candle of Clarity. In a small attic room where sunlight filtered through dusty window panes, Martha sat surrounded by mountains of papers, books, and forgotten projects. Each item represented a different dream, a different direction, a different possibility. Yet amid this sea of potential, nothing seemed to manifest into reality. Her energy, like her workspace, scattered in 1,000 directions at once. One morning, as golden light touched the chaos around her, Martha felt an inexplicable urge to clear her desk. She began slowly, touching each item and asking herself, "Does this align with my true purpose?" With each decision, the space around her grew lighter. As she sorted, organized, and released, something shifted within her consciousness. The physical act of clearing mirrored an inner transformation. Her thoughts became crystalline, her intention sharp as morning light. The universe responds not to the volume of your desires, but to their clarity. When your energy splinters across multiple paths, the force of attraction weakens, like light dispersed through a prism. But when you focus your vibration through the lens of singular purpose, it becomes a beam powerful enough to pierce through any resistance. Martha discovered that abundance flows most freely through clear channels. As her desk emerged from chaos, so did her vision. The projects that truly called to her soul stood out with newfound brilliance, while those born of obligation or fear fell away naturally. In the valleys beyond the great mountains lived Floyd, a shepherd who tended to his flock with gentle dedication. Yet despite his careful attention, his sheep seemed to wander in circles, never growing in number or strength. Floyd's mind churned with countless methods and systems, ancient herding techniques, modern breeding programs, innovative feeding schedules. Each new idea pulled him in a different direction until his energy scattered like leaves in an autumn wind. One evening, as Floyd watched the sunset paint the sky in shades of clarity, wisdom dawned within his heart. He had been trying to walk every path at once, and in doing so, had walked none of them fully. That night, he chose one method, one direction, one clear intention. As he simplified his approach, his flock began to thrive. The sheep, sensing his focused energy, followed with newfound certainty. This tale reflects a universal truth. Confusion repels resources while clarity attracts them. When your energy aligns with a single, pure intention, the universe responds with matched precision. Your thoughts, like shepherds, must guide with clear purpose, rather than scattered attention. The secret lies not in the quantity of your efforts, but in their quality. When you clarify your vibration, removing the static of doubt, the noise of too many directions, you create a clear channel through which abundance can flow. Like a radio tuning to exactly the right frequency, your energy must be precisely aligned with your intention. Practice the clarity ritual. As you prepare for sleep each night, take a single piece of paper. In the quiet moments before rest, when your mind is most receptive to universal wisdom, write one clear intention. Let this statement be simple yet powerful, free from confusion or contradiction. Feel how this singular focus strengthens your magnetic pull on reality. As you drift into sleep, allow this clarity to settle into your subconscious, where it will continue to broadcast its pure signal to the universe throughout the night. Feel the power of precision as you align your energy with this one clear purpose. Notice how simplicity strengthens your connection to the abundant flow of life. Chapter 8. The River That Returned. In a small village between rolling hills, there lived a woman named Rose who possessed little in material wealth but carried an abundance of spirit. Each morning she would gather herbs from her modest garden, crafting them into healing teas, despite her own cupboards being nearly bare. When travelers passed through seeking sustenance, she offered what little she had without hesitation. Her neighbors whispered among themselves, questioning her wisdom. How can she give away what she barely has for herself? They wondered. Yet Rose understood a truth beyond their comprehension, that the universe operates not through hoarding, but through flow. This sacred knowledge reveals itself through the eternal rhythm of giving and receiving. Just as a river must release its waters to the sea before new streams can feed it, abundance flows most freely through open hands. When you grasp tightly to what you have, you signal to the universe that you operate from fear rather than faith. This constriction creates the very scarcity you seek to avoid. The law of circulation stands as one of the most powerful forces governing prosperity. It teaches that wealth, like water, must move to remain fresh and vital. When you dam a stream, it grows stagnant. Similarly, when you clutch your resources too tightly, you interrupt the natural flow of abundance that seeks to reach you. Rose's story illuminates this principle perfectly. As she continued giving freely despite her apparent lack, mysterious blessings began appearing at her doorstep. Travelers she had helped months before returned with gifts. Her herb garden flourished beyond explanation. Anonymous baskets of food appeared when her pantry ran low. The more she gave, the more the universe responded in kind. A similar tale unfolded in the life of Clyde, a craftsman who could not spare money but offered his time freely to those in need. Though his purse was light, he spent his evenings teaching young apprentices his trade, asking nothing in return. He mended his neighbors' tools and furniture, refusing payment. "Time is my tithe," he would say with a gentle smile. As the seasons turned, Clyde discovered that his generosity had woven an invisible net of abundance. His former students sent him their finest materials. Word of his kindness spread, bringing him more work than he could handle. The hours he had given freely returned to him multiplied in unexpected ways. These stories reveal a fundamental truth. Giving is not an act of sacrifice, but an affirmation of abundance. When you share freely, you declare to the universe, "I trust in the infinite source of all things. I know that, as I give, so shall I receive." This is not mere philosophy. It is a cosmic law, as reliable as gravity. Your relationship with giving reflects your deepest beliefs about abundance. Do you give from your overflow, or dare you give even when your resources seem limited? Do you calculate each donation, or do you trust in the natural flow of reciprocity? The answer reveals your true relationship with universal abundance. The ancient practice of sacred giving. Find one opportunity today to give something of value, whether it be time, resources, or kindness, without any expectation of return. As you give, hold in your heart the knowing that you are participating in the eternal cycle of abundance. Feel the joy of being a channel through which the universe expresses its infinite generosity. Trust that what you release with love must return, multiplied by the same force that turns one seed into 1,000 flowers. Chapter 9. The Compass of Emotion. In the heart of a bustling marketplace, a merchant named Mildred sat at her stall, her emotions churning like storm clouds. Each day brought waves of anxiety about her dwindling sales until she discovered an ancient truth that would transform her relationship with wealth forever. The wisdom lies not in pushing away these feelings, but in understanding their deeper message. Your emotions serve as precise instruments, measuring the quality of your energetic broadcast to the universe. When heaviness settles in your chest or worry clouds your thoughts, these sensations are not your enemies. They are messengers pointing toward alignment. Just as a compass needle trembles before finding true north, your emotional guidance system responds to every thought about money. Pay attention to how different thoughts about wealth feel in your body. When you imagine lack, notice the constriction. When you contemplate abundance, observe the expansion. This subtle difference holds the key to your financial transformation. The universe responds not to your words or actions, but to the energy you emanate. Your feelings are the language of manifestation, speaking directly to the forces that orchestrate abundance. When you learn to navigate by emotional wisdom, you master the art of energetic alignment. Consider Burton, a skilled craftsman who once carried the weight of financial resentment. Each time he created a masterpiece, bitterness about proper compensation tainted his work. His breakthrough came when he realized these feelings were not just responses to his circumstances, they were creating them. Burton began a practice of emotional alchemy. Before touching his tools each morning, he would close his eyes and find one aspect of his work that brought him joy. Gradually, relief replaced resentment. As his energy shifted, so did his reality. Clients who valued his artistry began appearing, offering exactly what his work was worth. This transformation illuminates a universal principle. Your emotional state creates a magnetic field that either attracts or repels prosperity. When you maintain a vibration of ease and appreciation, you align with the natural flow of abundance. When you harbor resistance or fear, you create turbulence in this flow. The practice is simple yet profound. Monitor your emotional weather patterns. When storm clouds gather, recognize them as guidance rather than punishment. Your power lies not in forcing positive feelings, but in gently steering toward better-feeling thoughts. The universe matches your emotional frequency with mathematical precision. Choose thoughts that feel like relief, like opening, like possibility. Let go of the need to control the how and when of money's arrival. Instead, focus on maintaining an inner state that welcomes abundance. Ancient practice for emotional mastery. When discomfort arises, pause, breathe, and whisper, "I choose ease," watching tension dissolve into clarity. This simple ritual aligns your energy with the natural state of abundance. Practice this throughout your day, especially when making financial decisions or thinking about money. Feel how each shift toward ease creates space for prosperity to flow. Chapter 10. The Gate of Gratitude. In a modest apartment overlooking rain-streaked windows, Edith faced a stack of unpaid bills. Her shoulders carried the weight of mounting debt, yet something within her stirred, an ancient knowing passed down through generations of wisdom keepers. Taking a worn notebook from her drawer, she began a simple practice that would alter the fabric of her reality. Each morning, before touching a single bill, Edith wrote 3 things that filled her heart with genuine appreciation. "I am thankful for the warmth of sunlight," she wrote. I am grateful for the clean water flowing from my tap. I cherish the kindness of the neighbor who shares her fresh-baked bread. As weeks passed, something remarkable unfolded. Unexpected opportunities emerged. A forgotten rebate arrived. A client offered additional work. A long-lost friend connected her to a new venture. The universe operates through an immutable law. Your vibrational frequency determines what manifests in your physical reality. Gratitude represents the highest frequency you can maintain, for it acknowledges the abundance already present in your life. When you choose appreciation over anxiety, you shift your energy from lack to fullness, from fear to faith. This truth reveals itself with pristine clarity in the tale of Walter, a shopkeeper whose small business teetered on the edge of closure. Rather than dwelling in despair, he began each day standing in his empty store, speaking words of thanks for every detail: the clean floors, the organized shelves, the morning light streaming through windows. "I appreciate this moment of peace before customers arrive," he would say, even when days passed without a single sale. Within a month, subtle shifts occurred. A local magazine featured his shop. A construction project rerouted foot traffic past his door. Regular customers, sensing the renewed energy within his space, spread word of his service. His gratitude had altered the very atmosphere of possibility around him. Your current circumstances are not your final destination. They are simply a reflection of past vibrations. Through genuine appreciation, you transmute the energy surrounding any situation. Each thank you uttered with sincerity becomes a key, unlocking doors previously hidden from view. Recognize that gratitude isn't mere politeness. It is spiritual alchemy. When you appreciate what exists now, you create an energetic channel through which greater abundance can flow. This is not about denying challenges, but about maintaining a frequency that attracts solutions. The practice of gratitude alignment. As the sun rises each morning, before your feet touch the floor, speak 3 heartfelt expressions of gratitude. Feel each thank you resonating in your chest, sending ripples through the universal field of possibility. Let appreciation fill your being until it overflows into every aspect of your day. These moments of genuine thankfulness open unseen gates through which abundance naturally flows. Part 2. The Mastery of Momentum. Chapter 11. The Lighthouse of Focus. In the heart of a storm-battered coastal town, Bee tended her small lighthouse gift shop. While other merchants shuttered their windows against the tempest, she maintained her daily ritual. Each morning, before opening her door, she would light a single candle and envision her shop transformed, not into a grand empire, but into a beacon of prosperity that served her community with grace. The waves of uncertainty crashed against the shore, yet her inner vision remained as steady as the lighthouse beam above. Where others saw scarcity in the off-season, Bee perceived abundance waiting to emerge. She held this picture in her mind with the same unwavering dedication that lighthouse keepers of old maintained their vital flames. You see, every thought you harbor acts as a beacon, drawing to you experiences that match its frequency. When your vision wavers, so too does the path of manifestation. The universe responds not to your wishes, but to the steady signal of your sustained attention. This truth reveals itself through an eternal principle. Energy flows where attention goes. Your focused awareness serves as the helm that steers the ship of your prosperity through both calm seas and storms. Those who master this art of unwavering focus find that external conditions hold no power over their internal alignment with abundance. Consider the tale of Orville, a farmer in the Dust Bowl era. While others abandoned their lands, he spent each dawn standing in his fields, holding a vision of green shoots pushing through fertile soil. Day after day he maintained this picture in his mind, even as dust clouds darkened the horizon. Others called him foolish, but Orville understood that attention, properly directed, creates channels through which abundance can flow. Through months of drought, he kept his inner image pristine. He learned to see with his heart what his eyes could not yet witness. Gradually, patterns of rainfall shifted. Where other fields lay barren, his land began to show signs of life. First in small patches, then in sweeping waves of green, his farm transformed into an oasis of abundance. The power that transformed Orville's fields lies dormant within you, waiting to be awakened. Like B's lighthouse beam cutting through the fiercest storm, your focused attention can pierce through any temporary condition of lack. The key lies not in the intensity of your desire, but in the steadiness of your vision. The universe operates through absolute precision. It cannot help but respond to the coordinates set by your sustained attention. When you hold your financial dreams steady in your mind's eye, you activate forces far greater than mere circumstance. You tap into the same power that guides planets in their orbits and turns seeds into forests. Practice for aligning with abundance. Find a quiet moment at the same time each day. Light a candle or face the rising sun. Choose one clear image of your desired wealth, be it a specific sum in your accounts, a thriving business, or the feeling of complete financial freedom. Hold this vision steady for 60 seconds, as unwavering as a lighthouse beam. Let all other thoughts pass by like clouds, maintaining your focus on this single point of light. Feel the reality of it in your bones, as if it already exists. This practice, maintained with dedication, becomes the rudder that steers your ship toward prosperity's shores. Chapter 12. The Bridge of Belonging. A gentle merchant named Daisy kept her small perfume shop at the edge of the marketplace. Though her fragrances were exquisite, she worked in solitude, believing that success required fierce independence. Each morning, she would arrive before dawn, arrange her bottles in perfect rows, and wait behind her counter, alone with her dreams and fears. The universe works through connection, not isolation. Just as drops of water join to form mighty rivers, abundance flows most powerfully through channels of unity. When you stand apart, believing self-reliance guarantees success, you unknowingly restrict the very current that longs to lift you higher. Your energy field is not meant to remain separate. It yearns to dance with others in the grand symphony of creation. Every interaction carries the potential to amplify your vibration. Every shared smile magnetizes greater prosperity. The law of attraction responds most generously when hearts beat in harmony. Consider how birds soar highest in formation, how trees share nutrients through underground networks, how stars cluster to illuminate the darkness. These are not mere coincidences, but reflections of the universe's fundamental truth. Abundance multiplies through connection. Money, in its purest essence, is frozen energy, waiting to be thawed by warmth of human bonds. When you open yourself to others, when you allow your frequency to blend with theirs, You create channels through which prosperity flows with greater ease. In a distant valley lived Nellie, a weaver who discovered this truth through experience. While her individual works were beautiful, she noticed her creativity and her earnings remained static. One day she invited fellow artisans to gather weekly in her workshop. As they shared techniques, celebrated victories, and supported each other through challenges, something magical occurred. Their collective joy began attracting opportunities none had imagined possible. Orders increased, not through competition, but through collaboration. Customers sensed the elevated energy in their creations. The artisans found themselves featured in regional festivals, their work sought after by collectors who felt drawn to the harmony woven into every piece. The meaning shimmers clear as morning light. When you join your energy with others who share your values and vision, you create a field of attraction more powerful than any individual could generate alone. Your combined frequencies become a beacon, drawing prosperity through the law of resonance. The ancient practice passed down through generations of wisdom keepers asks this of you. Dedicate 1 hour to sitting in quiet gratitude for every soul whose energy enriches your journey. Picture each face, each voice, each moment of connection. Feel how their presence expands your capacity for receiving. This practice reveals the truth. You are not meant to walk the path of abundance alone. Every blessing multiplies when hearts unite in conscious creation. As your vibration harmonizes with others, as you allow yourself to be supported and to support, notice how the universe responds with increasing generosity. For in this sacred circle of connection, prosperity finds its natural home. Remember, the wealthiest soul is one who recognizes that true abundance flows not through isolation, but through the golden threads that bind us all in the tapestry of life. Practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Light a candle or create an atmosphere of peace. For 1 full hour, bring to mind each person who contributes positively to your energy field. Express gratitude for their presence in your life. Feel how this acknowledgement naturally widens the channels through which abundance flows. Let this practice remind you that wealth, like joy, multiplies when shared. Chapter 13. The Feather of Ease. In a bustling marketplace, Phoebe managed a small tea shop where she once exhausted herself trying to compete with larger establishments. Each day brought new worries, inventory counts, customer complaints, endless tasks that seemed to multiply. The more she pushed, the more resistance she encountered. One morning, as steam rose gently from her teapot, she noticed how water naturally found its path, flowing around obstacles rather than forcing through them. In that moment, something within her softened. She released her grip on struggle and allowed her business to unfold with the same natural grace as the rising steam. The universe operates through the law of least resistance. When you cease struggling against what is, solutions arise with unexpected ease. Your energy, no longer scattered in resistance, becomes a clear channel through which abundance flows naturally. Think of how clouds drift effortlessly across vast skies, how flowers bloom without strain, how rivers carve paths of least resistance through mountain ranges. These are not mere metaphors, but mirrors of the fundamental truth. Nature accomplishes everything through relaxed allowing. Money responds to this same principle. When you release the belief that wealth must be wrestled into existence, you align with its natural current. Ease is not the absence of action, but the presence of flow. It is the wisdom to know when to move and when to be moved. Herbert, a merchant in a coastal town, embodied this truth. Where others fought against market tides, he learned to read their rhythm. Rather than forcing sales, he cultivated relationships. Instead of pushing against competition, he found unique ways to serve. His gentleness became his strength, and customers were drawn to the peaceful energy that surrounded his shop. As weeks passed, Herbert noticed that opportunities began finding him. Suppliers offered better terms without negotiation. New customers appeared through word of mouth. His business grew not through forceful expansion, but through natural attraction. The meaning whispers clear. When you surrender the need to control every outcome, life conspires to support you. Your relaxed certainty becomes a magnetic force, drawing solutions that struggle could never reach. This is not passive resignation, but active trust in the universe's abundant flow. Practice. Find a quiet moment each day to sit in stillness. Let your breath become soft and natural. When you feel centered, gently whisper these words. Everything I desire drifts gracefully toward me. Allow this truth to settle into your being. Notice how your body relaxes, how your mind clears, how your energy shifts from pushing to receiving. Rest in this space of calm knowing, feeling the ease with which abundance flows toward those who trust its natural movement. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Clock of Divine Timing. Long ago, in a village among ancient olive groves, lived a young woman named Ivy. Each morning she would climb to her rooftop garden, scattering seeds and willing them to sprout faster through sheer determination. Her fingers would dig into the soil, checking for growth multiple times daily, disturbing the delicate roots in her eagerness to witness results. The universe speaks through the natural rhythm of all things. Just as a flower cannot be forced to bloom before its time, abundance flows according to divine timing. This truth reveals itself in the dance between desire and manifestation, a sacred choreography that responds not to urgency, but to trust. When you release the grip of impatience, you align with the natural current of creation. Your role is not to force, but to flow. The universe operates with perfect precision, orchestrating countless elements to bring forth your desires in the most harmonious way. What appears as delay is often divine protection, ensuring all components align for your highest good. Consider how the seasons change. Winter never rushes into spring, nor does dawn hasten the sunrise. Each transformation unfolds in its perfect moment. So too does your prosperity follow an intelligent sequence, guided by wisdom beyond mortal understanding. After many withered seedlings, Ivy discovered a truth etched in nature's law. Her interference hindered rather than helped. Only when she learned to tend her garden with peaceful attention, trusting the inherent wisdom of growth, did her plants flourish in abundance. A similar lesson emerged through Stanley, an elderly craftsman who had been promised an inheritance. Year after year, he waited, his patience tested as financial pressures mounted. Yet he maintained an unwavering faith, saying simply, "The timing will be perfect." When the inheritance finally arrived, It coincided precisely with an unprecedented opportunity to acquire his dream workshop, something that would have been impossible had the money come earlier. Stanley's story mirrors a universal principle. What appears as delay often serves as preparation. The universe's timing supersedes human schedules, weaving together circumstances for optimal outcomes. Your task is not to push against this divine orchestration, but to trust its impeccable precision. Money, like water, flows most freely through open channels. Anxiety and impatience create resistance, while calm acceptance opens the way. When you find yourself gripping tightly to outcomes or attempting to force results, remember, ease attracts, struggle repels. The ancient practice handed down through generations of wisdom keepers offers a powerful remedy for impatience. Each time urgency rises in your chest or worry clouds your mind, pause. Draw a deep breath and release it slowly, whispering the sacred words, "It's already on schedule." Feel these words dissolve tension, replacing urgency with trust. This simple ritual aligns your energy with the natural rhythm of manifestation, allowing abundance to flow unimpeded through your life. Let these words become your anchor in moments of doubt. They carry the power to shift your vibration from resistance to receptivity, from forcing to flowing. Practice this whenever you feel the pull of impatience and watch as life begins to unfold with graceful timing, bringing you exactly what you need, precisely when you need it. Chapter 15. The Quilt of Perspective. In a sunlit workshop at the edge of a bustling marketplace, Agnes worked with weathered hands, gathering fragments of discarded fabric others had cast aside. Her neighbors whispered that she wasted precious hours collecting what they deemed worthless. Yet Agnes saw treasure where others spotted only trash. With each careful stitch, she wove stories into her creations. A nobleman's torn silk became the centerpiece of a magnificent tapestry. A merchant's frayed wool transformed into intricate flowers. Through her fingertips flowed an ancient wisdom. Value dwells not in things themselves, but in the energy with which you perceive them. The universe operates through divine timing, orchestrating each moment with perfect precision. Just as Agnes trusted the process of transformation, you too must understand that every experience arrives precisely when needed. What appears as delay serves as preparation. What feels like obstacle becomes opportunity. In the merchant district across town lived Lionel, whose prized pottery shop had crumbled during the spring floods. Where others saw devastation, he discovered inspiration. Each broken vessel provided materials for a revolutionary mosaic technique. His new creations sold for 10 times the price of his original works, attracting collectors from distant lands. The wisdom lies clear. Timing flows not from the hands of mortal clocks, but from the infinite intelligence of the universe. Your task is not to push against this divine current, but to flow within it. When you release resistance to what is, you open yourself to receive what could be. Money, like all energy, responds not to your timeline, but to your alignment. Each moment of apparent delay carries hidden gifts, lessons to be learned, skills to be mastered, awareness to be gained. Trust in this process transforms waiting from burden to blessing. The true measure of wealth lies not in the speed of its arrival, but in your capacity to recognize its presence in every form. Just as Agnes found riches in remnants and Lionel discovered fortune in fragments, You hold the power to transmute any circumstance through the alchemy of perception. Practice. When adversity visits, pause and ask yourself, how is this piece part of my masterpiece? Repeat this question gently until you feel peace settle into your bones. Let this contemplation reveal the hidden perfection in timing's eternal dance. Chapter 16. The Key of Imagination. Along the winding streets of an ancient city lived a painter named Fanny, whose brushes remained idle while her mind painted masterpieces. Each morning, before touching canvas or pigment, she would sit in silence, eyes closed, crafting vivid scenes of prosperity in her imagination. She pictured collectors gathering at her door, gold coins filling her pottery bowl, and her art hanging in grand halls. For months, no physical evidence supported her inner vision, yet Fanny continued painting these pictures in her mind with unwavering dedication. She understood a truth as old as creation itself. The outer world must first be birthed in the inner realm. The universe operates through this eternal principle. What you hold steadily in consciousness materializes in form. Your thoughts are the original brushstrokes on the canvas of reality. When you paint your desires with the rich colors of belief and the subtle shading of feeling, you activate the creative force that shapes all existence. This power of visualization transcends mere positive thinking. It is the same force that transforms a tiny seed into a towering oak, the same intelligence that orchestrates the dance of planets. When you close your eyes and craft detailed images of your desired reality, you speak directly to the universe in its native language, the language of energy and vibration. Your mind is the workshop where all manifestation begins. The clearer and more consistent your inner vision, the more precisely the universe can match it in physical form. This is not wishful thinking. It is working with universal law. Consider the tale of Clydene, a merchant who sat quietly each dawn, visualizing ships arriving at port laden with exotic spices. He imagined the weight of silk purses heavy with gold, felt the smooth texture of precious gems in his palms, and heard the eager voices of traders seeking his wares. For 3 seasons, he maintained these vivid mental pictures while his small shop remained modest. Yet he refused to let outer circumstances dim his inner vision. Then one morning, as summer breeze carried the scent of salt air, a messenger arrived. A distant cousin had passed, leaving Clydene a fleet of trading vessels. The very ships he had seen so clearly in his mind's eye now anchored in the harbor, their holds filled with the spices and treasures he had imagined. The message is clear. Your imagination is not fantasy, but a preview of what is to come. When you paint detailed pictures in your mind of the prosperity you desire, you create an energetic template that the universe begins filling with substance. Your role is to hold that vision steady, regardless of current circumstances. This is not about forcing outcomes through mental effort. Rather, it is about aligning your consciousness with what you wish to create. Let your imagination soar freely, yet ground your visions in deep feeling. See not just the outer symbols of wealth, but feel the inner state of abundance they represent. The ancient practice of prosperity. Vision. Find a quiet space as each day begins. Close your eyes and create one clear scene of wealth in your mind. Perhaps it's opening a letter announcing an unexpected inheritance, or watching your investments multiply, or receiving recognition that brings abundant rewards. Hold this single image until it feels as real as a memory. Let every detail become crisp and vivid. The colors, sounds, textures, and most importantly, the feelings of having received your desire. Practice this daily until the vision feels more real than its absence. What you consistently imagine, you invite into being. Chapter 17. The Doorway of Decision. In a village between mountains lived a weaver named Gertrude, who stood daily before two paths. One led to the familiar marketplace where she sold simple cloths for copper coins. The other wound toward the royal city, where merchants traded in silks and gold. Each morning she would pause at this crossroad. Her heart pulled toward grandeur, while her feet remained rooted in routine. The universe speaks in absolute terms. It recognizes only clear signals, not mixed messages. When you vibrate between possibility and doubt, you create interference in your own magnetic field. Like a radio caught between stations, your energy becomes static rather than song. Gertrude's indecision cast shadows over her prosperity. Some days she would take 3 steps toward the royal road before retreating to familiar territory. Others, she would gather her finest weaving samples, only to hide them away again. The universe, ever patient, waited for her to make a choice that would ring with certainty. Then came the morning when something shifted within her spirit. Standing at her loom, watching sunlight play across threads of possibility, Gertrude felt an ancient wisdom stir. The universe does not reward hesitation with abundance. In that moment, she gathered her finest works and strode toward the royal city without looking back. The moment of decision holds power that transcends logic. When you choose with unwavering clarity, you align with the creative force that shapes worlds. This is not about reckless action, but about moving with profound inner certainty. Consider Emery, a spice merchant who wavered between expanding his trade routes or maintaining his small shop. For years, he calculated risks and possibilities until his ledgers were filled with numbers but empty of progress. His uncertainty created a fog around his dreams, making them impossible for the universe to clearly reflect. One dawn, Emery walked to his shop and understood. His wavering had cost more than any failed venture ever could. In that moment, he chose expansion with his whole being. He did not merely think it or hope it. He became it. Within a season, opportunities appeared that his calculations had never imagined. The universe responds not to what you wish for, but to what you decide. When you stand firmly in choice, you create a clear channel for abundance to flow. Your decisiveness becomes a beacon that prosperity can follow. The ancient practice of decisive prosperity. Stand in a quiet space, feel the weight of uncertainty in your body, then consciously release it with a breath. In a voice that carries the power of absolute knowing, speak these words once: I decide to prosper. Let this declaration be final. Move forward as though the path is already set, for in truth it is. The universe has heard your choice. Now it can begin its work. Chapter 18. The Table of Trust. In a mountain village there lived a woman named Hattie, who discovered an ancient practice that transformed her relationship with abundance. Each evening, as the sun painted the sky in hues of amber and gold, she would set her wooden table with 2 places, one for herself and one for the universe. At first, her neighbors whispered that solitude had clouded her mind, yet Hattie knew she was never dining alone. With each meal, she placed fresh bread, warm soup, and whatever simple gifts her garden provided on both plates. As she ate, she spoke to the universe as one speaks to a trusted friend, sharing her dreams, expressing gratitude, and opening her heart to divine guidance. Through this sacred ritual, Hattie learned that wealth flows not from forcing or grasping, but through gentle partnership with the source of all abundance. Her small bakery, once struggling, began to flourish as she released her grip on outcomes, and instead welcomed the universe as her silent partner in all endeavors. In a distant valley, a merchant named Virgil discovered this same truth through different means. For years he had pushed and planned, trying to control every aspect of his trading business. Each decision was calculated, each move measured, until exhaustion left him empty despite his modest success. One day, while resting beneath an old olive tree, Virgil heard an inner whisper suggesting he travel east instead of his planned western route. Against all logic, he followed this subtle guidance. This journey led him to an unexpected opportunity that doubled his fortune. From that day forward, Virgil learned to dance with divine timing, allowing intuition to guide his choices rather than forcing his will upon the world. These stories whisper an eternal truth. Abundance flows most freely when we release the illusion of control and step into sacred partnership with the universe. Money, like water, moves with grace when we cease to clutch it and instead allow it to flow through open hands and trusting hearts. Ancient practice. Tonight, set an extra place at your table for the universe. As you dine, feel the presence of infinite abundance joining you. Speak your gratitude, share your visions, and listen for the gentle guidance that always surrounds you. In this simple act, you acknowledge that you never walk alone on the path to prosperity. Let each meal become a reminder that you are in constant communion with the source of all wealth. Chapter 19. The Horizon of Possibility. In a seaside village where waves whispered ancient secrets, Louise tended her small flower stand beneath weather-worn awnings. Each morning she arranged her modest bouquets, never daring to imagine more than what fit within her tiny wooden cart. The universe, ever patient, waited for her to recognize the vastness of her potential. One dawn, as she gathered wildflowers by the shore, Louise discovered an old manuscript half buried in the sand. Its chapters contained stories of merchants who had started with nothing but dreams and transformed their lives through the power of expanded vision. With each page she turned, something within her began to stir. That evening, Louise did something unprecedented. She imagined her flower stand as a grand emporium, with blooms from distant lands filling elegant rooms. Though her logical mind protested, her heart recognized a deeper truth. Limitation was merely a habit, not a law. As she allowed herself to dream beyond the boundaries of what seemed possible, mysterious shifts began occurring. A traveling merchant offered to supply exotic flowers. A wealthy visitor suggested opening a second location. Within months, her tiny stand transformed into the flourishing business she had dared to envision. In a mountain town far away, Clifford managed his family's small textile shop, setting modest goals that felt realistic. Each year, he aimed to increase sales by 10%, believing this demonstrated prudent thinking. But one night, while reading ancient wisdom texts, he encountered a profound truth. The universe knows no scale of difficulty. A small manifestation requires the same energy as a grand one. Inspired, Clifford tore up his cautious projections. Instead of incremental growth, he envisioned his shop becoming a destination for collectors of fine fabrics from across continents. He replaced sensible with spectacular in his thoughts, and soon opportunities beyond his former imagination appeared. A renowned designer discovered his shop. International buyers sought his unique selections. What once seemed impossible flowed naturally once he expanded his vision to match the universe's unlimited potential. These stories illuminate an eternal truth. The boundaries of your prosperity are set not by external circumstances, but by the size of your dreams. The universe responds not to the scale of your request, but to the magnitude of your belief. Ancient practice. Take a moment now to sit in sacred silence. On a piece of paper, write one desire so magnificent it makes your heart race, a dream you've deemed too grand to voice aloud. As you write, feel the universe's delight in your courage to dream beyond perceived limits. Smile, knowing that by daring to imagine greater possibilities, you align with the infinite abundance that awaits your recognition. Keep this paper as a testament to your expanding vision, and watch as the universe moves to match your grander dreams. Chapter 20. The Fountain of Faith. The boundaries of your prosperity are set not by external circumstances, but by the scope of your imagination. When you limit your vision to what seems realistic, you confine the infinite to finite parameters. Yet the universe operates beyond such artificial constraints. Pearl understood this truth through an extraordinary test of faith. Her import business had flourished for years until global changes threatened its foundation. While others retreated in fear, Pearl maintained an unwavering connection to universal abundance. Each morning, before examining accounts or reading reports, she sat in silence, affirming the continuous flow of prosperity, seen and unseen. "Money moves in mysterious ways," she would say, even as her advisors urged caution. "The visible world merely reflects our deepest beliefs." When others saw obstacles, Pearl recognized disguised opportunities. She continued investing in expansion, trusting the invisible currents of abundance more than temporary appearances. Within months, while competitors struggled, Pearl's business discovered new channels of growth that none had anticipated. Her faith in unseen possibilities had carved paths through seemingly impossible terrain. In a quiet valley, Newton tended his orchard through changing seasons. During a particularly harsh year when frost threatened his trees, neighbors urged him to sell before losses mounted. But Newton held a different wisdom. Each day he walked among his trees, touching their bark with gentle hands. "The source that creates fruit knows no season," he would whisper. "I trust what I cannot see more than what my eyes tell me." While others anxiously watched weather reports, Newton maintained his serene certainty. He spoke to his trees of abundance, of sap flowing strong beneath bare branches, of roots drinking deep from invisible springs. When spring arrived, his orchard bore fruit more abundantly than any other in the valley. Those who knew him spoke of luck, but Newton understood a deeper principle. Trust in the invisible precedes visible manifestation. These stories reveal an ageless truth. What appears as reality is merely the surface of infinite potential. Behind every circumstance lies an ocean of possibility, waiting for your expanded vision to call it forth. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment each day to sit in stillness. Close your eyes and repeat inwardly, "I trust the invisible more than appearances." Feel each word dissolve into your being until calm floods every cell. Let this practice remind you that true power flows not from what is seen, but from unwavering faith in the unseen source of all abundance. Part 3. The Radiance of Mastery. Chapter 21. The Symphony of Success. In a bustling coastal town lived Della, a violin maker whose workshop held a secret wisdom. While others rushed frantically through their days, she moved with measured grace between creation and contemplation. Her instruments produced the sweetest melodies, not because she worked longest, but because she understood the rhythm of flow. "The wood must rest between shapings," she would say, running her fingers along partially carved maple. "Just as wealth needs space to breathe between our efforts." Those who watched her work noticed she never forced progress, instead, alternating focused attention with periods of stillness. Each morning began with gratitude for the tools in her hands, the wood beneath her touch, and the customers who sought her craft. When others questioned her unhurried pace, she smiled knowingly. Music cannot be rushed, nor can abundance be chased. Both arrive through harmony. As her reputation grew, orders flowed effortlessly. Yet Della maintained her balanced approach, refusing to sacrifice quality for quantity. Her workshop became a testament to the power of aligned energy, where effort danced with ease and action partnered with appreciation. In another town lived Archie, who conducted the local orchestra. For years he struggled to create memorable performances until he discovered a profound truth. Success arose not from pushing his musicians harder, but from helping them find their natural rhythm. He began each rehearsal with moments of silence, allowing everyone to settle into their seats and connect with their instruments. "Feel the music before playing it," he would guide. "Let it flow through you rather than forcing it out." As his orchestra learned to balance intensity with rest, their performances transformed. Audiences doubled, then tripled. Resources poured in, new instruments, venue upgrades, and endless opportunities. Yet Archie knew the real magic lay not in the results, but in the harmony they had discovered between effort and ease. Ancient practice. Close your eyes and imagine your life as a grand orchestra. See yourself as both musician and conductor. Feel how each element, your work, relationships, rest, and gratitude, creates a unique note. Now envision these notes blending in perfect harmony, creating a symphony of abundance. Let this melody remind you that true wealth flows not from constant striving, but from the artful balance of giving and receiving, doing and being, effort and ease. Chapter 22. The Jewel of Presence. Through years of conducting, he discovered that forcing musicians to play faster or louder never yielded beauty. True harmony emerged when each player found their natural rhythm, when they stopped straining and started flowing. His orchestra transformed from a group of individuals into a unified force of creation. Money and music, you see, follow the same divine principles. When you grasp desperately at wealth, it becomes as elusive as a melody forced through an unwilling instrument. The universe responds not to tension, but to resonance, to the sweet vibration of alignment. The wisdom lies in understanding that abundance flows most freely when you orchestrate your energy with grace. Like Della's violin making or Archie's conducting, Your relationship with wealth requires both active participation and peaceful surrender. It calls for moments of focused intention balanced with periods of serene acceptance. In the quiet corners of your life, a symphony of abundance plays eternally. Yet so often, its notes go unheard beneath the cacophony of worry about tomorrow. Enter Nora, who learned this lesson through her small bookshop at the edge of town. For years, she had pushed and strained, extending business hours and fretting over future sales. But transformation arrived when she shifted her attention from tomorrow's concerns to today's gifts. Nora began savoring the present moment, the smell of fresh books, the soft murmur of browsing customers, the warmth of sunlight through shop windows. As she relaxed into now, something magical occurred. Regular customers lingered longer, new faces appeared more frequently, and unexpected opportunities arose naturally. Her shop's success grew not from desperate striving, but from her deepened appreciation of each moment. Henry's tale mirrors this truth. As a merchant traveling between villages, he had always rushed from one marketplace to another, convinced the next town held greater profits. Until one day, exhausted from constant motion, he paused in a small square. There, in that moment of stillness, he noticed opportunities he'd been racing past: local craftsmen seeking partnerships, residents requesting specific goods, connections that had always existed but required presence to perceive. The universe's abundance surrounds you always, playing like an eternal symphony. Yet its gifts can only be received in the present moment. When you release the impulse to chase tomorrow's wealth, you discover today's richness waiting patiently for your attention. Throughout the day, whisper, "Now is enough," until peace hums richer than currency. Chapter 23. The Bridge of Forgiveness. In a small village by the sea lived a woman named Sadie who carried the weight of old wounds like heavy stones in her pockets. Each morning she would count her grievances as meticulously as others counted their coins. The business partner who betrayed her trust, the inheritance unfairly distributed, the loans never repaid. These memories crystallized into barriers, invisible yet impenetrable, blocking the natural flow of abundance in her life. One dawn, as she walked along the shore, an ancient wisdom stirred within her heart. Each wave that pulled back from the sand reminded her of a simple truth: nothing in nature holds on forever. The tide releases to receive anew. The trees shed their leaves to welcome fresh growth. Even the moon wanes to become full again. In that moment, Sadie understood. Her resentment was not protecting her wealth, but imprisoning it. With each breath, she began releasing her grip on past injuries. As she did, something extraordinary occurred. Opportunities long dormant began to surface, like shells revealed by receding waters. Her business flourished with an ease she had never known, and resources flowed toward her with the natural rhythm of the tides. In another village lived Edwin, a gentle shopkeeper who had extended credit to many during hard times. The ledger of unpaid debts grew thick with names and numbers, becoming a source of bitter thoughts that kept him awake at night. One morning, inspired by an inner voice of wisdom, he took out his ledger and began writing, "Forgiven," across each debt. As he did so, his heart grew lighter, and something shifted in the fabric of his reality. New customers appeared, paying in advance. Anonymous envelopes containing exactly what he needed arrived at precisely the right moment. His act of forgiveness had cleared the channel through which abundance could flow. The universe operates through this law of release. When you hold tight to grievances about money, the raises denied, the investments that failed, the debts unpaid, you create resistance in your energy field. This resistance becomes a barrier, blocking the very prosperity you seek to attract. Ancient practice of release. Find a quiet moment and bring to mind one financial injury you've been carrying. Feel its weight in your being. Now, imagine this memory as a stone in your hand. Speaking from your heart, say, "I release this burden, not because others deserve forgiveness, but because I deserve peace." Let the stone drop from your hand, feeling the immediate lightness that follows. Watch how this newly cleared space becomes a channel through which fresh abundance can flow. Remember, forgiveness is not about condoning what happened. It's about freeing yourself from the energetic chains that bind your prosperity. As you release, you'll discover that the universe has been waiting to fill your empty hands with new blessings. Chapter 24. The Meadow of Mindfulness. Through the wisdom of ages, a simple truth emerges. Every transaction holds the power to become a sacred exchange. Let me share with you the tale of Millie, a shopkeeper who discovered this ancient secret. In her modest store at the edge of town, Millie noticed that some days brought abundance while others felt stagnant. One morning, as she opened her ledger, she paused. Instead of mechanically recording numbers, she touched each entry with reverence, acknowledging the energy within every coin that passed through her hands. With each sale, Millie began offering silent blessings. When customers handed her money, she received it as more than currency. She saw it as pure energy taking physical form. Her gentle "thank you" carried the weight of genuine gratitude, and soon something remarkable occurred. Her business began to flourish in unexpected ways. The universe responds not to the size of transactions, but to the consciousness behind them. Money, in its purest essence, is frozen light, energy made tangible. When you approach each exchange with awareness, you transform routine commerce into spiritual alchemy. Consider now the story of Guy, a humble merchant who elevated this practice to an art. Each morning, before opening his shop, he would light a candle and whisper, "Through me flows the abundance of the universe." Every time he handed change to a customer, he silently blessed both the giving and receiving. Even when paying his suppliers, he maintained this sacred awareness. Within months, Guy noticed that his resources multiplied effortlessly. It wasn't that he worked longer hours or implemented clever strategies. Rather, he had aligned himself with the natural law of circulation. By blessing each transaction, he kept the energy of money flowing freely, unencumbered by fear or attachment. The ancient mystics understood. Money carries the imprint of our consciousness. When we handle it with reverence, we activate its inherent power to multiply. Every purchase, every payment becomes an opportunity to participate in the grand dance of universal abundance. The practice: find stillness in the midst of transaction. Whether purchasing bread or paying bills, pause to infuse the exchange with conscious awareness. Each time money passes through your hands, silently affirm, "Return multiplied for good to all." Let this practice transform routine moments into ceremonies of abundance. Chapter 25. The Star of Vision. In the quiet depths of twilight, Dorothea often walked to a small hill overlooking her village. Though her days felt heavy with unfulfilled dreams, these moments beneath the vast expanse of stars awakened something profound within her spirit. Each evening, as lanterns flickered to life in distant windows, she would pause her daily concerns and turn her gaze skyward. One particularly clear night, as countless stars painted the darkness with their ancient light, understanding dawned within her heart. Just as stars illuminate the night sky, inspiration illuminates the path to abundance. She realized that wealth, in its truest form, mirrors the brilliance we dare to envision. When you lift your eyes beyond immediate circumstances, the universe reveals its infinite nature. Like countless points of light adorning the heavens, unlimited possibilities await your recognition. Your dreams, dear one, are not mere wishes cast into emptiness. They are living seeds of potential, each containing the full power of creation. Consider the tale of Herbert, a gifted architect whose vision transformed not only skylines but lives. While others designed buildings merely for profit, Herbert saw each project as an opportunity to manifest meaning. His structures became more than steel and stone. They emerged as sanctuaries of purpose, spaces where human spirits could soar. In his studio, surrounded by drawings and dreams, Herbert discovered that fortune flows most abundantly when aligned with inspiration. Each time he chose significance over mere success, the universe responded with unexpected blessings. His projects attracted exactly the right investors, his designs won prestigious commissions, and his work began to generate wealth beyond his initial imaginings. Yet Herbert's greatest discovery wasn't the material abundance. It was the understanding that wealth naturally gathers around authentic purpose. When you create from the depths of inspiration, you tap into the same force that ignites stars and shapes galaxies. Money becomes not the goal, but the natural consequence of allowing your inner light to shine fully. The stars above tell an eternal truth. What you gaze upon with wonder, you begin to embody. Just as celestial bodies pour forth their radiance without reservation, your inspired vision carries the power to illuminate paths of prosperity. The practice. Find a quiet place beneath the night sky. Let your breath deepen as you gaze upward into infinity. Allow one heartfelt dream, one true aspiration, to rise within you, glowing brighter than any doubt or fear. Hold this vision until you feel its warmth in your very being. This is not mere wishing. It is aligning with the creative force of the universe itself. Chapter 26. The Garden Gate of Service. The heart of abundance beats in rhythm with service freely given. In the bustling marketplace where Lula kept her small flower stand, she discovered this timeless truth through the simple act of sharing beauty. Each morning, she would select the freshest bloom from her collection and place it, without expectation, in the hands of someone whose spirit seemed to need it most. What began as a gesture of kindness transformed into an unexpected channel of prosperity. The more flowers she gave away with pure joy, the more customers seemed drawn to her stand. Her genuine warmth created an invisible current of goodwill that returned to her multiplied, not because she calculated the return, but because her heart delighted in the giving itself. The universe responds not to the size of our offerings, but to the love that accompanies them. This truth became evident in the contrasting story of Kent, a wealthy merchant who believed strategic charity would enhance his fortune. Each month, He would donate substantial sums to various causes, carefully recording each contribution for maximum advantage. Yet despite his generous gifts, his business began to struggle. Kent could not understand why his calculated generosity failed to yield the same results as Lula's simple flower offerings. The answer lay not in the value of what was given, but in the energy behind the giving. Where Lula's gifts flowed from spontaneous joy, Kent's charity carried the heavy weight of obligation and expectation. The law of attraction responds to the vibration beneath our actions. When service springs from genuine delight, it creates a magnetic field that naturally draws abundance. But when giving becomes a strategy for gaining, it loses its transformative power. The universe recognizes and responds to authenticity above all else. Sacred practice. Choose one opportunity today to serve others purely from your heart's joy. Let go of any thought of return or recognition. It might be as simple as sharing a smile, offering an encouraging word, or helping someone carry their groceries. The form matters less than the feeling behind it. As you give, notice the warmth that spreads through your being. This is the energy that activates the law of abundance. Your joyful service becomes a beacon, calling forth resources in perfect harmony with your highest good. Note: stopping here as the key elements, Lula's story, Kent's contrast, and the practice have been covered as per instructions. Chapter 27. The Phoenix of Renewal. In a village among ancient hills there lived a woman named Opal who had built her life around material security. Her shops dotted the marketplace, her coins filled sturdy chests, and her name carried weight in every transaction. Yet the universe, in its infinite wisdom, sometimes strips away the external to reveal the eternal. One night, fire swept through the marketplace, consuming everything Opal had accumulated. As dawn broke over the smoking ruins, she stood among the ashes of her former wealth. In that moment of complete emptiness, something extraordinary stirred within her spirit. Where others saw devastation, she began to sense possibility. Instead of rebuilding her shops exactly as they were, Opal listened to an inner calling she had long ignored. Her heart had always yearned to create spaces where children could learn and grow. As she cleared away the debris, each handful of ash became symbolic of transformation. She began to envision learning centers rising from the ruins. The universe responds to authentic alignment. When Opal surrendered her old identity as a merchant and embraced her role as a teacher and mentor, resources flowed from unexpected sources. Her new ventures, born from genuine purpose, attracted support that far exceeded her previous wealth. This truth echoes in the tale of Marion, a skilled artisan who lost her prestigious position crafting ornaments for nobility. Initially devastated, she discovered that her hands longed to shape simpler, more meaningful pieces that could touch ordinary lives. As she aligned with this deeper calling, her work began to carry a different kind of value. Her new creations, infused with authentic purpose, drew collectors and admirers from distant lands, bringing prosperity beyond her previous station. When your hands release what no longer serves, they become free to receive what truly belongs in your life. Loss is not an ending, but a doorway to expanded possibilities. The universe never removes without the intention to replace abundantly, but often with gifts more aligned with your soul's truth. Sacred practice. Stand in a quiet space and open your palms upward. Visualize any recent loss as ash in your hands. Breathe deeply and speak these words. I bless this clearing as sacred space for new abundance. What falls away makes room for greater purpose. Let the imagined ash scatter to the winds, knowing it fertilizes future gardens of prosperity. Chapter 28. The Spiral of Expansion. In a remote mountain village, a wise woman named Effie tended a magnificent garden unlike any other. While other gardeners maintained their plots as they always had, Effie constantly experimented with new methods, plants, and arrangements. Each season, she would uproot successful beds to try fresh combinations, causing neighbors to whisper that she was squandering nature's gifts. Yet with every change, her garden grew more vibrant. Flowers bloomed in unexpected harmonies, vegetables yielded unprecedented harvests, and even the soil seemed to pulse with renewed vitality. The secret lay not in what she planted, but in her willingness to release what worked, to discover what could work even better. When you cling to patterns that once served you well, you gradually dim your energetic radiance. The universe responds not to repetition, but to the fresh currents of growth you generate. Each time you step beyond familiar shores, you signal to the great forces of abundance that you trust in eternal unfolding. This truth echoes in the tale of Calvinia, a gifted weaver who had mastered traditional patterns passed down through generations. Her tapestries sold well, providing comfortable stability. Yet something within her yearned for more. Instead of banking her profits, she invested in studying with foreign masters, learning techniques that challenged everything she knew. Many questioned her choice to risk proven success. But as Calvinia wove her new knowledge into ever-evolving designs, her work began to shimmer with unprecedented life. Collectors traveled great distances, drawn not just by the tapestry's beauty, but by the energy of innovation they contained. The principle remains constant. Energy delights in motion. When you dedicate yourself to continuous expansion, you align with the universe's natural tendency toward growth. Your willingness to evolve becomes a magnetic force, attracting resources, opportunities, and possibilities that static patterns could never invoke. Each venture into unknown territory refreshes your energetic signature. Whether learning a new skill, exploring an unfamiliar path, or releasing an outdated belief, you demonstrate faith in the abundance that flows through change. This very act of trust magnifies your attractive power. Ancient practice for renewal. Choose one activity today that gently stretches your comfort zone, perhaps a new route to work, an unfamiliar food, or a conversation with a stranger. As you embrace this small adventure, whisper inwardly, I welcome growth as my natural state. Feel how this simple risk awakens dormant energies and invites fresh streams of abundance into your life. Chapter 29. The Crown of Consistency. In a bustling marketplace, a merchant named Ruth sold gleaming brass lamps. While others complained of unpredictable sales, Ruth's prosperity flowed as steady as a mountain stream. Her secret lay not in her wares, but in the sacred rhythm she maintained each dawn. Before the sun touched the horizon, Ruth would light a single candle, close her eyes, and whisper words of gratitude. This simple act, repeated without fail, became the foundation of her abundance. Through seasons of plenty and moments of scarcity, She held to this practice with unwavering devotion. The universe responds not merely to what you request, but to the constancy of your energy's song. Like a musician who practices daily to master their instrument, your relationship with abundance deepens through faithful attention. Each repeated act of alignment carves deeper channels through which prosperity flows. Norman, a humble scribe, discovered this truth through his own journey with wealth. Each evening, he would record 3 blessings in a leather-bound book, no matter how small they seemed. At first, he noted copper coins and spare bread. Yet as the chapters filled with appreciation, his circumstances began to mirror his persistent gratitude. Simple meals became feasts and copper turned to silver, then gold. Your energy creates, but your habits sustain. The difference between momentary manifestation and lasting abundance lies in the quiet power of routine. When you treat your spiritual practices as sacred appointments with the universe, miracles transform from occasional visitors into permanent residents of your reality. Within the depths of your being lies a temple of infinite wealth. Each time you return to your practices, be they meditation, affirmation, or gratitude, you tend the eternal flame that attracts abundance. This consistent devotion sends ripples through the fabric of creation, aligning circumstances with your sustained vibration. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment each day, ideally at the same time and place. Light a candle or create a small altar that represents abundance to you. Perform your chosen wealth practice, whether gratitude, visualization, or affirmation, with reverence and regularity. Let this become your daily offering to the universe, as natural as breathing. Watch how steady devotion transforms sporadic blessings into continuous flow. Chapter 30. The Circle of Completion. In a sunlit cottage at the edge of a meadow, an elderly woman named Vintage Eliza sat in her weathered rocking chair, her silver hair catching the morning light. For years, she had chased wealth through countless ventures, believing abundance lay in the gathering of gold. Yet on this particular morning, as birdsong filled the air, understanding dawned like the first rays of sunrise. The truth you now uncover rests at the heart of all spiritual wealth. You were born into abundance. Your very breath carries the richness of life itself. Each heartbeat pulses with the same force that spins galaxies and blooms flowers. The universe has never once forgotten to provide for its own. When you awaken to this knowing, money reveals itself as merely one expression of the infinite supply that already courses through your being. Your cells sing with the same creative power that fashions stars. Your thoughts shape reality with the same authority that commands seasons to change. Clarence, a humble gardener, glimpsed this wisdom while tending his modest plot. One morning, as he knelt in the soil, he noticed how freely the earth offered its gifts, how sunlight poured without price, how air flowed without cost, how life sprouted without payment. In that moment, he recognized that his search for fortune had blinded him to the fortune he already was. You are not separate from the source of abundance. You are abundance expressing itself in human form. Your presence here signifies the universe's investment in your being. When you truly embrace this truth, external wealth naturally aligns with your inner knowing. The ancient ones understood. Prosperity never arrives from outside because it eternally flows from within. Your task is not to acquire abundance, but to remember you are abundance. Every breath declares your oneness with infinite supply. Every heartbeat confirms your inheritance of universal wealth. Sacred practice, the breath of prosperity. Find a quiet space where you can sit undisturbed. Close your eyes gently and bring your awareness to your breath. With each inhale, recognize you are drawing in pure life force, the original currency of existence. With each exhale, feel gratitude for your being. Let each breath remind you. You are wealth in motion, abundance in form, prosperity breathing itself into expression. Remain here until you feel the truth of your inherent richness fill every cell. In this simple practice lies the master key to all material manifestation. The recognition that you are not seeking wealth, you are wealth expressing itself. From this knowing, all outer abundance naturally flows. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. The journey completes where it began, with you as the vibrational source of all wealth. Through these sacred teachings, a profound truth has emerged. Abundance flows not from external circumstances, but from the radiance of your being. In discovering this wisdom, you have untangled yourself from the illusion that prosperity must be chased, fought for, or earned through struggle. As you sit with this knowing, feel how your energy has transformed. Where once anxiety created resistance, peace now opens channels of receiving. Where doubt once blocked the flow, trust now creates an effortless current. You understand now that every dollar, every opportunity, every blessing responds not to your actions, but to your frequency. The universe has always held unlimited abundance. It simply waited for you to align with this truth. Like a radio tuning to a clear signal, you have adjusted your vibration to match the frequency of wealth. This alignment is not something you do. It is what you are. Remember the wisdom gathered through each teaching, the whispers of belief that became certainty, the seeds of faith that bloomed into manifestation, the light of self-worth that attracted its reflection. These were not mere lessons, but awakening to your natural state of being. You now carry the profound understanding that prosperity flows through you, not to you. Each breath connects you to the infinite source of all creation. Your gratitude is not a practice, but a pulse. Your trust, not a choice, but a knowing. Your abundance, not a goal, but an essence. Let this truth settle deeply into your consciousness. You will never be poor again, because you finally recognize that wealth was never about money. It was always about energy. And in this energy, you are limitless, eternal, and complete. Move forward now, allowing your prosperity to serve the highest good. Your wealth is not just yours. It flows through you to bless all it touches. In this sacred circle of giving and receiving, you have found your true home.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.